I was raised Jewish, and so I was always looking for the reason or the way to know God, and I never found it. And that spurred me to leave the temple and start searching the world for answers. And I started with drugs, and I found acceptance and pleasure and fun, and then I moved on to alcohol. And by the time I was 15, it was women, it was cocaine, it was dealing drugs by 16. And everything I did was meant to make me feel like I had life in me. What spurred me to look for more is deep down inside, I believe every person, including myself, wants to have a purpose and wants to be fulfilled and wants to know what they're created to do. And I searched everywhere and I never found the answers. And so I kept searching until finally I hit rock bottom. And that's when I finally looked upward because I had nowhere else to look. I had tried committing suicide before and it never worked. I didn't really go through with it. And I was 20 feet in front of a train track in San Clemente and came to the realization that my life was void of any meaning and that my existence I've tried everything and there's nothing that's worked, so what's the point in trying? So I was about to go end my life and I just said with one last breath, I said, God, if you're real, you got to prove it to me. And I didn't believe in God at the time, but I said that because I had nowhere else to go. And at that point, God completely took the scales off my eyes and spoke the loudest whisper I've ever heard in my life, just saying I'm here. And I started crying and just felt this warm presence of that I wasn't alone, and I was all alone on the beach with nothing and no one. And I felt that I wasn't alone. And I looked over the ocean, I looked up at the stars, and I realized that there was a creator behind this creation. And so I believed in God. And then I went home and I was content, and even though I had nothing, I felt like I had something. I was at peace. And 2 weeks go by and I didn't leave the house really at all. And 2 weeks go by and I decided to ask my mom for a Bible. And my Jewish mother looks at me with a look I'll never forget, but she finds a little New Testament Gideon's Green Bible and she says, here, I hope it helps. And I read it. 6 chapters into Matthew, I realized that this was the answer I was looking for my whole life. So I said the prayer. I didn't know how to pray or what to do or what it even meant to be a Christian, but I knew I wanted to try it. So I said, you know, God, if you're real, I see you're real, I want to know what I was created to do and who I was created to be, and I want to find a purpose, and I'll try being a Christian. I don't know what that means, but as long as you never leave me, I'll never leave you. And he never left, and my life was transformed. So I was completely quiet about it and just let God transform my heart first. And then I got to Boise State and got out of my environment and was able to start new. And I got involved in a few Bible studies, and a few pastors started discipling me, and I started realizing that this is the answer I've been looking for my whole life, and everyone needs to know about it. So I started getting tattoos that displayed the gospel, simply so I could share with everyone I meet my faith. Started speaking my freshman year for the Southern Baptist Organization, and then evolved to 500 churches in the past 5 years or so, and hundreds of charities and that kind of stuff, and just fell in love with sharing the gospel and what God's done for me in my life. And really just took off. Used my football platform to really try as best I could to share the gospel and use my name for the kingdom, and just tried to let God use me as much as I could. You can choose to live a boring life and therefore you negate the power of the Spirit of God, or you can choose to accept the fullness of God's Spirit and let it take you on a crazy, crazy ride in life, because God will never call anyone to a boring, ordinary life. That's our choosing, but God wants us to go somewhere crazy and do wild things.